on first turn, she uses Allegro con Moto and does a basic Allegro con Moto rotation throughout the entire fight. It lasts for 3 turns, and you never want it to be down for any of your two, mages. So the rotation would be Allegro con Moto, take 2 actions, Allegro con Moto, take 2 actions, and just repeat that. So it's always up for the entire party. So what Garnet does is on first turn Allegro con Motos, and then spends the next 2 turns doing supporty things, which is, oh god, I think I shortened the rotation for the first time around because she has nothing to do, unfortunately. So first turn is Allegro con Moto, second turn is Angel Song, because she wants to clear the poison that Meltigemini puts on the team, because that poison gets in the way of Eiko's last stand. So after those 2 turns, she doesn't have anything to do. She can't magicite. There's no sense in recasting the Realm Chain at that point. So what she does is she shortens the rotation and casts Allegro con Moto again. And it's from that point on that she does the whole 3-turn thing. So on the first turn of the second rotation, then she uses Magicite first, and then Realm Chain, then Allegro con Moto. And then, here's the special sauce. I use her BSB1, even though I have her BSB2. Dagger of Resolve. We dagger this boss. It is a fantastic 3 summoning lightning attacks. It is really, really special stuff. And the reason that I do this is because she needs something to do. Both of her ability slots are taken up by necessary abilities. The Angel Song is necessary because I need to clear off that poison, and Allegro con Moto is very, very pivotal to the way the fight is run. So she needs something to do, and using Dagger of Resolve is actually really nice because, one, her BSB2 has no damage on the entry. That means it does not benefit from Allegro con Moto. Allegro con Moto is Magical Quick Cast 3, which means any ability that does magical damage benefits from having its cast time halved. Her BSB2 doesn't benefit from that, so she spends a long time casting that for not a whole lot of benefit. No, I do not run any buffs in this party. Everyone's self-buffs. So she uses her BSB1 to deal 3 hits of damage, which I think because I may have accidentally had a Striker or Battleforged or whatever equipped on her, it doesn't even cap. So it doesn't even do 30,000 damage in a single turn. But that's not the important part. She actually needs to use the Command 1. Because Eiko, as you see, has no ability to heal in this fight. She's full offense, other than her USB. So there's a point late in the fight where Garnet needs to use her Command 1 on her BSB1 to heal Beatrix, so Beatrix doesn't die. And in doing so, grants me a ton of damage. Because at that point in the fight, the chain is massive. And even Beatrix, with who doesn't really do all that much damage compared to Vivi and Kuja over the course of the fight, is still, since the chain is so big at that point, she is doing a lot of damage. So that was a really nice benefit to using her BSB1, rather than slow casting out her BSB2, and then using her Command 2 for 4 hits. And she would only get the chance to use that Command 2 once. So this way I get 3 hits from the BSB1 entry and a heal, where with her BSB2 I get basically nothing on entry, and then 4 hits of lightning damage. BSB1 ended up being better, and I'm pleased because nothing beats a meme team. So that's Garnet. Next up we have Kuja, who is very basic. There's nothing silly going on here other than he is the swag master. I use him with both USB and OSB, unlike what is shown here. I do not need to use the OSB, but it is better, because if you cast, or his USB 1, if you aren't aware, is a finisher, which means when you cast it, 15 seconds after you cast it, a finisher will trigger, because that's when the USB status ends, and a certain amount of damage will be done depending on how much you did during the USB. So as long as you cast the USB before 15 seconds, then it will go off before 30 seconds. So what I do is I cast his USB at about 14.8 seconds. And then I use his USB later on in the fight, because I know that I'm going to get the benefit from his USB at very, very late in the fight without having to recast his USB again. If you weren't aware, if you cast a finisher, the finisher, like I said, happens when the USB status ends, 15 seconds after you cast it. Well, you can cause the status to end prematurely by casting the USB again. So I would have to do that if I didn't cast his USB before 15 seconds. Do you get it? Like if I cast it at 16, for instance, then if I just let the fight play out naturally, the finisher would go off at 31 seconds, which is unacceptable because we want to finish this fight in 30. What I could do instead would be cast his USB again at like 28 seconds, which would make the finisher go off manually, because it would prematurely end the status and start a new status. But I built the fight so I do not have to do that. Otherwise, very simple. He does have Mako Might on. This is something I don't really like to run on DPS, but Kuja's a little different. Because he doesn't have access to a 6-star ability at the moment, so his soul break generation is actually quite poor. Especially because he needs to spend the first turn of the fight using Memento Mori, which is a 4-star ability, even worse soul break generation. So if I don't use Mako Might on him, Kuja's USB doesn't come out until like turn 5, I think, which is awful. So what I do instead, because I elected not to use that buff for Garnet's BSB2 on her, and instead throw Mako Might on Kuja, because that's fine in Kuja's case, because what Kuja's USB 2 or USB 1 does is end dark, and then a darkness rank boost. So he gains so much extra plus damage just by casting his USB that it as long as you cast it early enough, it kind of forgives you for not running a damage materia, because his USB is providing that. You will pay for it later on in the fight, but I'm counting on the chain being high enough later on in the fight. I'm sorry to hear that, Solana. I'm counting on the chain being high enough later on in the fight that he doesn't pay for that, for not having a damage record materia on. And that is the way it works out. So Kuja is actually one of the few DPS that I would run in one of these fights with Mako Might on. And it works out fine. So Kuja, what he does is second turn USBs. Then USBs a second time at 14.8 seconds. And then OSBs at about 27 seconds. So he gets 3 soul breaks off. And with that, just by himself with no need for entrusts or anything. Obviously, I don't have any entrusts on the team. Eiko is the most important member of this team. I would like to have Eiko's USB 2 to try to tackle this fight without Last Stand, but I do not envy people trying to do this fight without her USB 1. This is a very heavy gravity attack fight, which improves the benefit of Last Stand, because gravity attack turns are non-kill turns, which the nice part about non-kill turn fights is that's Last Stand is also a non-kill turn, and if you give yourself enough non-kill turns, that gives you enough time to re-up your last stand as long as you're generating soul break points enough, which is the exact point, the reason why she has Valley Gramanda on. I would rather use Valley Gramanda on her rather than a healing spell for two reasons. One, Valley Gramanda is casted faster than Kurata because she has the benefit of Allegro Con Moto from Garnet, and Valley Gramanda generates 135 soul break points, where Kurata only generates 100. So by using Valley Gramanda, I am actually healing the team better than I would with a cure spell. Because this fight has so many turns that you simply just can't die, it makes generating soul break points the best way to go about healing the team. Because she uses, naturally, without any trust, she's able to use her USB many times over the course of the fight, and keep everyone alive because of it. Anything else special about her? Now, like Vivi Garnet, she wants to trance early, but slots 2 and 4 take more damage than 1, 3, and 5 at the beginning of the fight, and that's why Garnet and Eiko have synergy relics on to help defend against that extra damage, but also trance, while Vivi needs the extra... Ooh! Hey, Blunder. Just jumped on me. Needs the extra crappy armor to help him trance with everybody else. That's everything there. Beatrix is up next. She's kind of a lone wolf. She's the only physical character on the team, so she's the only DPS that doesn't benefit from Allegro Con Moto. So that's why I have Thunder God mode on her. I don't have any Synergy Holy Armor, or I would be glad to give it to her. Like, I don't want Beatrix taking any extra damage. She doesn't have a trance mode. You do see that she has Holy equipped. The Holy is actually not essential, but extremely helpful, because I use it on her second turn. Because it casts faster than the 6-star ability, Healing Smite. Because by that time, she has the benefit of Allegro Con Moto from Garnet. And because it casts faster, that allows me to input Kuja's action while there's an animation going on the screen. And because Kuja gets to input his action without, like, time progressing, that is actually what allows Kuja to get off his USB before 15 seconds. Because if there's any delay in any of his actions in the first 15 seconds of the fight, his USB on many attempts was known to go off after 15 seconds, kind of ruining the finisher aspect of it. So, by using Holy on her second turn, it allows me to do that, which you will see. Everyone's using Dark Resists, because dark damage is the real problem in the fight. Poison damage is something that happens at the beginning, and it's fairly manageable. Notice I don't have any poison resistance on Garnet or Eiko, and that's intended, because if they have poison resistance on, then they don't trance on second turn. Magicite are fairly predictable. I have Belias because, I don't know, more damage on Vivi. Belias allows Vivi to better run a striker. He doesn't need a damage materia because he has all this Empower Fire from Belias. Plus, I use Belias as my main because he does the most damage out of anything else here. And that's what I'm looking for, is extra damage. This is a very glass cannon fight. Because of the way Last Stand heals the party, I'm not really all that interested in protecting the characters on the team. I just want to deal damage. All the damage that I possibly can. And that's why he's up front. Down here we got Seraph for Dark Resist, so I can survive the Doomsdays and the 4th and 5th phases. Quetzal is another glass cannon magicite with fast act and 2 magic boons. I don't want any protection from a magicite here. I could use a Phoenix to help defend against Meltigemini's all of Meltigemini's magic, but I don't want that because that is bad. Protection ruins my chances, and I would rather the damage output that I get from using my offensive quets. And then again, I don't use any defensive Evrays. It's just Precise Strikes 10 and another magic boon. I usually don't run 3 magic boons, but in this case, my only alternative here is a Spell Ward, and Spell Ward is bad. I don't want protection. I want all the damage I can get, except for this. Except for Seraph, because those Doomsdays at the end are... I just want to avoid being one-shot. That's basically it. So, as long as I Eiko USB before Doomsday, then Doomsday hits, and then I have a turn where people can die and have their last stands triggered. So I have yet another turn after that. So this is just to avoid getting one-shot by the Doomsdays. Alright, that was a long time to spend on... Oh, yeah, that's a long time to spend on the team comp, but the team comp is... It's always pretty damn important, so I want to go over it thoroughly. Does anyone have any questions on that before I jump into the fight itself? Beatrix does not approve of being called a team player. She would be on most attempts. I've beaten this, I've sub-30'd this boss a couple times since I did it, and on a few attempts, Beatrix is just a team player. On this attempt, Beatrix tries to insert her will, impose her will upon Meltigemini, as you'll see. Alright, so no questions, I'm gonna jump into the fight. This is a recording for those who are unaware, haven't watched a commentary before. Alright, turn 1. Because I have Thunder God mode on Beatrix, I use her to cast the Realm Chain. There's no better option. I did try some attempts using Garnet on second turn Realm Chaining, but I kind of felt that was too much of a loss of damage, so I stopped doing that. Otherwise, it's basically their first slot. We got a Meltdown, Allegro Con Moto, Memento Mori, and Heiska. Notice the 2 heavy hits on slots 2 and 4, that's what I was talking about. Pretty important. Now, you saw that, right? I can kind of frame step. This Holy is going to go off so fast because she has Thunder God mode and Allegro Con Moto active that you see the ATBs on Kuja. What this allows me to do is basically input all the actions that I need to while there's an animation going off. If she used Healing Smite instead, it would take a lot of time, and sometimes Kuja's USB or second cast of his USB would not go off before 15 seconds. I know it's crazy that something that happens now could affect something 10 seconds from now, but it's the way it works. I skipped Garnet's turn there because this attack right here, as you're going to see in a second, triggers Garnet's trance. which makes all our cast speeds ×2, so it is faster to just wait than ×2 cast speed of Angel Song. Also nice that BB trances before his meltdown goes off, giving him a 50% chance to dual cast, which he takes advantage of. Goodbye Poison is the only time I will use Angel Song over the course of the fight. Healing Smite with his awesome animation. Not all that much damage. But it gets a little better with 2 dual casts. I wait for that flare. And the reason why I have Vivi and Garnet in slots 1 and 2 is because I know on the previous turn they're going to trance, which means that they're going to be filled up to full health, which is important because this flare hits slots 1 and 2, does 7,000 damage. That's what them trancing allows them to survive that flare, which allows me to wait on casting Eiko's USB until this point in the fight. Under any other scenario, because of all the damage that's taken early on in the fight, it's very unlikely that anyone survives that without trancing to full. That was a mistake. And you'll see my cursor right now is on the pause button. I was about to reset this fight because I just defended with Garnet. You remember when I talked about Garnet specifically on the team comp, I said Garnet does cut her first rotation short. I go Allegro con moto, Angel Song, then Allegro con moto. Because I have nothing to do with her on the turn in between. It's usually a 3-turn rotation. Well, I accidentally defended when I was supposed to use Allegro con moto again, so I guess that's what she used instead. It didn't hurt me that much because Garnet is definitely the least impact character in the fight. That's why she's the one who, casts all the utility stuff like Magicite and the recast of the Realm Chain. So I don't know why at only 9 seconds into the fight I decided to keep going after such a big mistake, but I did, and well, here we are. Now you'll see, since that Eiko USB cast, we're going to get so many Valley Garmandas in because the way the boss works is just... not a whole lot of killing. Oh, and these healing smites, it's going to look really impressive by the end of the fight, but unfortunately in this one, I'm not really... none of the heals from the healing smite matter at all. I could do this fight without it. What they do provide is extra damage output because the amount of benefit that you get from your Evrays, because of their surging power, depends on how much health you have. So I do get a little bit of damage over the course of the fight because of it, but no one survives because of the healing smites when they wouldn't have otherwise. Not all fights are going to be like that with this one. There's our first last stand pop. BB, just 150,000 damage. Now that Valley Garmanda is no slouch. Eiko doesn't just use it for generating soul break damage, it's actually a fair amount of damage output. Now, Melty uses those flares very often on 4, 5, or 1 and 2, which is why the last stand popping on Kuja is fine. That's basically a free turn. 2 more last stands gone. I Valley Garmanda again, even though we have 3 people at 1% health. And no last standing. Because I know the next turn is going to be a Meteor. And Meteor is a gravity attack, which means it can't kill me. Well, it's a current HP gravity attack, which means it can't kill me. Maximum HP change. So, Kuja's USB is being cast at 14.86 seconds, which means that before 30 seconds is gone in the fight, as long as Kuja's alive, then his finisher will recast, or will cast. Right now you're watching Kuja's finisher that's being force recast when I cast it at, like, what, 5 seconds into the fight? Still 80,000 damage. Pretty good. Another 150 from Vivi. Now the chain is massive, so Beatrix is starting to do top tier damage now. Also dual casting it. And a 6-hit chase because I R5'd Healing Smite. So I knew this ultimate Meteor was coming. No kill turn. I had to pause here. This is a pretty rough part of the fight. Next turn is a possible kill turn. So, time to re-up the last game. And I know Garnet is recasting chain right now. So, my 250% chain, which is awesome, is going to be removed. So I moved to using Meltdown with Vivi because it's basically the same multiplier as Chain Faraja, just over 4 hits instead. I'd rather save Chain Faraja when it's going to be capping because I don't want to use Chain Faraja now and then be forced to use Meltdown later. Because if they're both capping, then Meltdown is a 20% damage loss. 25%. Now, this kind of what I was talking about back in the team comp, in that the phase changes in this fight are extremely important. Because of that pause that I made on Eiko's turn, on the previous turn, I lost some time here. I actually lost a lot of time because this attack removes haste, which really sucks. And my only way to recast haste with this team is with Eiko's Heiska or her USB. I do not want to heal with her USB right now because no one's last stand is popped. That would be a waste. And I didn't want to wait a turn on her USB because then people just would have died because they didn't have last stand and they had low health. So what I had to do was Eiko USB previous turn, and then this turn would be where I cast Heiska on Eiko. That pause cost me some time. And you see Eiko's ATB isn't even half full. So until Eiko's ATB gets full, I do not have haste. And luckily she does have her trance mode active, so it's a ×2 cast speed. But it'd even be longer if she didn't have trance active. And that would suck. So this is actually a poor way to play the third phase, which we're in right now. Could have been a hell of a lot better. But I elected to keep on going with the fight, and I wonder if we get there. See, Meltdown isn't even capping. That means there was no point in using Chain Faraja. Next turn, Chain Faraja will cast. See, the great thing about Beatrix and her being a team player is that she hits for 5 times with her ability, 10 times if she dual casts, and then 6 times with her chase. She just builds that chain so well for everybody. Oh god, this is excruciating. No haste. Look at that. But luckily, second turn of phase 3 is Meteor. That can't kill anyone. Now we're back in it. Alright, this is third turn of phase 3. I believe next turn will be a Doomsday. And because Doomsday is a huge attack on the entire party, there will be deaths, because our last stands have been popped. From the two last stands were just popped, BBs and Garnets. So I need to recast USB. I would prefer... I'm going to back up just a little bit. Because Eiko's wasn't able to cast Heiska immediately, that left us in phase 3 for too long. And that's why that flare happened that killed Vivi and Garnet. I would prefer that we deal enough damage to get out of phase 3 within a couple turns, so the Doomsday that happens at the start of 4th phase is what kills everybody and takes their last stands. By me being slow on that Heiska, stuck us around in phase 3 for too long, and is generally a really bad thing. Because now I need to use Eiko's USB before the Doomsday instead of after, which basically cuts a turn off of my ability to last later on in the fight. So I better damn well hope that I have the damage to get the fight done before that turn that was cut off. Reduced our longevity. Second turn after the new chain, we're already capping with VV again on the chain. Oh, no dual cast. I think Vivi had a very typical dual cast rate, but Beatrix, as some have noticed, Beatrix dual casts on every single healing smite except for one over the course of the fight. Which isn't necessary. It probably was necessary because of the way I screwed up phase 3. I needed that extra damage. But because she's the lowest damage dealer in the fight, it's not that impactful. But it was definitely a sight to behold because of the way she stacked the chain because of that. I believe I cast Beatrix's USB at 13 seconds into the fight, which means it would end at 28 seconds. Her healing smite and chase will do more estimated damage than her recasting her USB. So you saw that turn that just came up for Beatrix. She could cast her USB. She could even cast it at 3 times cast speed because she's still a Thunder God mode active. So I just don't cast it again. And here's Dagger of Resolve. Garnet's BSB. Watch this elite damage. S tier. 3 times 8. More dual casts from Beatrix. $24,000 damage, a turn from the healer. I'll take that. No, her OSB would be a damage reduction, I think. Well, maybe not. Her OSB would be an instant 100,000. And it's not like we need chain building anymore at this point. You know, I think if I had her OSB, I would use it. Just like I'm using Kuja's OSB right now. Alright, so remember that thing I talked about with Garnet and her healing? That flare just triggered the last stand on Eiko and Beatrix. I no longer have the ability to heal the party with Eiko. So what I do here is I use the first command, which is a healing command on Garnet's BSB1, and I heal Beatrix because I know we're now in the 5th phase. So the next action Meltigemini takes will be the first action of its 5th phase, which is another Doomsday. Vivi has Last Stand, Garnet has Last Stand, Kuja has Last Stand, but Beatrix and Eiko do not. This heal that Garnet is going to give to Beatrix right now allows her to survive the Doomsday, where no one else does. Eiko, unfortunately, does not have Last Stand, so she's going to get removed. I love Kuja's OSB. I forgot the animation, but he looks away from the explosion and cheers. Boom. Everybody except for Beatrix dies. 3 Last Stands popped, Eiko permanently. And this damage that Beatrix is doing right now is thanks to Garnet's BSB1. Without it, it doesn't happen. Now, we'll wait until the end of Vivi's USB, which I needed to cast. Vivi's USB ability double ran out, and I'd rather the guaranteed damage. Hi, Vivi. I'd rather the guaranteed damage of his USB rather than hoping for a dual cast proc if I used Meltdown. So that's why I'm using Vivi's USB. It's a lot of damage. It's 88,000 damage. Okay. So the boss's health bar is gone. It's Magic Pixel. I've got a second left in the fight. I could, if I wanted to, do 60,000 damage, because we do have Allegro Con Moto active. I could Dark Zone for 40,000, and I could use Garnet's Command 2 for 20,000 more. I could do 60,000 guaranteed, and a possible 100,000 if Kuja double casts. I don't know what came over me, because I was really desperate to get a clear on video at this point, but I decided, screw it. No, not more. Kuja is capped at 8 hits. Vivi's entry is 10 hits. And so Vivi did about 88,000. Well, Kuja's USB finisher will do about 80,000. We'll do exactly 80,000 minus 8. So what I do here is I go for the Kuja swag end. I know what's coming. So I say, all right. Beatrix bought me this. By Beatrix dual casting all those times, it made me deal so much damage in the fight that I didn't need the 60,000 from Kuja and Garnet on this turn. So I just, you see the cursor hovering over Dark Zone? I think about it for a second. And then you see the cursor go away. I'm like, okay. Because I know Kuja's finisher is going to go off 15 seconds after I cast it. And I take the win that way. The finisher to finisher. Which made that probably one of the best kill videos I've ever made. With Beatrix dual casting like a holy goddess and me purposely just skipping 60,000 damage at the end of the fight because I knew I was going to kill the boss with a natural occurrence. A natural disaster. Well, Kuja's USB, if I had casted it 25 seconds, wouldn't deal 100,000 like his OSB did. So using his OSB was actually more damage. The benefit to using Kuja's USB instead would be chain hits, which, since Vivi's already capping, Kuja's already capping, is only beneficial to Beatrix, so it's not that much. So I took the extra damage from Kuja's OSB. Plus, it allowed me to have a swag ending. That was Meltigemini. Any questions? While I take a look at this team comp, think about this fight, and see if there's anything worth thinking about. I mean, something that I just completely skipped. If you have the damage output, Meltigemini is known for being annoying because it's a status fight, but because the fight is set up the way it is, with Kuja's finisher right here, the boss is that was its last action of first phase, and at this point is very critical for dealing damage, because on the third action of its second phase, which we're now in, on its third action, it will paralyze slots 3, 4, and 5. So it was critical to stack as much damage as I could possibly get into this portion of the fight, because I need to skip that paralyze. If I don't skip that paralyze, it's a dead run. I could have used Unicorn instead as my magicite, but I would have lost damage for that, which would make me more reliant on dual cast luck, which I would have probably needed better dual cast luck than I got. Maybe not. Like I said, I skipped 60,000 damage at the end of the fight for no reason. And I would say Belias adds about that much over the course of the fight. So this was just a good RNG fight. This was one of the benefits to Kuja having Mako Might, is that by Kuja allowing Kuja to use his USB right now gave me a ton of extra damage because it triggered his finisher during the first 2 turns of the second phase. Let's see. Melty hasn't even taken its first action or second phase yet, and we're already at about 70% damage. The Twitch's phase is at 60%. Positioning Kuja's USB here. That entry and finisher combo together already puts us at like 65% tops. So, and we're going to get a Chain Faraja here. It doesn't matter if this dual casted. This would have pushed it. That's kind of crucial to the fight. Oh, anyone watered here? So to which points? Yes. Let me bring up... VV, 20 magic, 10 resistance, 10 defense, 400 HP. Garnet, 10 resistance, 10 defense, 400 HP. Not much. I think we have level 3 waters unlocked. I think for most of these characters I'm only using level 1. Except for the crucial stuff. Oh, I still even only have 10 magic and nothing else on Kuja. I know I have it unlocked. Right. I'm not saying me. I'm saying everybody has the ability to go and get level 3 at the moment in Realm Dungeons. I don't. I did put attack 20 on Beatrix because for both Beatrix and Vivi, I put their main stats at 20 because I knew I was operating buffless in the fight, so I knew that magic was, or magic and attack was useful for both of them. So, I mean, what are the big takeaways in this fight, other than use big deeps? Eiko USB. A lot of this is interchangeable between the top DPS in Final Fantasy IX, except for Eiko's USB 1, which... Whew. Carries a heavy load in this fight. Like, I know Vivi's amazing, but you could sub him out just fine with a team with, like, Zidane. Yeah, Zidane would probably... Also, Zidane has an arcane, which Vivi doesn't for a couple more days. Yeah, Zidane's probably definitely a better character than Kuja. Kuja, unfortunately, doesn't have access to a 6-star ability, so though his USB is actually kind of awesome. I didn't realize when I first got it that the finisher contributes to the chain and benefits from the chain.